For more than 2 decades, Tom Brady was untouchable. The golden boy of the NFL, 7 Super Bowl rings, a marriage to one of the most famous supermodels in the world, and a squeaky clean image so polished it felt like nothing could crack it. But behind the highlight reels and trophy cases, the cracks were already there, hidden in plain sight. And when they finally split open, the fallout was bigger than anyone expected. What really happened to football's most famous power player? And why are fans starting to see him in a very different light? From the moment he stepped onto the NFL field, Brady seemed immune to the usual traps that swallowed up other athletes. No wild scandals, no career-ending injuries, just a relentless march toward greatness. But if you looked closer, there were signs of a much more complicated man. Teammates have quietly hinted at a perfectionism so intense it could turn toxic. Former opponents tell stories of a player who would smile for the cameras but wouldn't hesitate to trash talk viciously when the microphones were off. Even his famously strict diet and lifestyle, while admirable to some, have been described by people close to him as obsessive to the point of being isolating. It was a formula that worked flawlessly on the field. But off the field? That same intensity could make him difficult to live with. And nowhere was that more obvious than in his high-profile marriage. When Brady married Gisele Bündchen in 2009, they became the ultimate celebrity couple. Wealth, beauty, and influence in equal measure. They were photographed on yachts, red carpets, and at charity galas, projecting an image of effortless perfection. But behind closed doors, things weren't always picture perfect. For years, Gisele hinted in interviews about sacrifices she made for the family while Brady continued to chase Super Bowl after Super Bowl. She openly talked about wanting him to be more present at home. By 2022, the tension was impossible to ignore. Reports surfaced that Gisele had given him an ultimatum: retire from football for good or risk losing the marriage. Brady briefly retired, then unretired just weeks later. It was a decision that may have sealed their fate. By the end of that year, the couple announced their divorce, ending a 13-year marriage and sending shockwaves through both the sports and celebrity worlds. But the split was just the beginning. The single Tom Brady era was about to get messy. It didn't take long for the tabloids to start speculating about Brady's love life. Within months of the divorce, he was linked to multiple women, ranging from high-profile models to rumored Hollywood flings. Some reports even suggested he was enjoying the single life more than he'd expected, spending time in Miami's nightlife scene and rubbing shoulders with A-list celebrities. At the same time, whispers began circulating that he was considering a move into acting or entertainment. Whether true or not, the idea of Brady trading the gridiron for the red carpet only added to the intrigue. Fans who had once known him as a grounded family man were now watching him navigate a world of luxury yachts, celebrity parties, and paparazzi flashbulbs. But then came the moment that took his public perception in an entirely different direction, and not in a good way. Brady agreed to be the subject of a celebrity roast, a risky move for someone whose brand was built on control and perfection. At first, it seemed like harmless fun. Comedians and former teammates took turns poking fun at his age, his football career, and yes, even his divorce. But as the jokes got sharper, some fans started to see the event differently. A few moments went viral for the wrong reasons. Brady's forced smiles and stiff body language made it clear he wasn't enjoying certain jabs, especially those about Gisele and his family. Critics called it a rare moment where the king of composure looked genuinely rattled. Instead of showing he could laugh at himself, the roast left many questioning whether Brady's image could survive being the punchline. And the public wasn't done finding things to talk about. Brady has always been open about his love for his children, but certain moments caught on camera sparked unexpected controversy. One in particular, a clip of him kissing his then-teenage son on the lips, set off a wave of online debate. Some defended it as a normal display of affection between a father and child. Others found it unusual, with the footage quickly becoming meme material. Brady seemed unfazed by the chatter, brushing it off in interviews. But the internet never forgets, and the clip continues to resurface whenever his name trends for something else. It became one more talking point in a growing list of moments that chipped away at his once perfect public image. And yet, instead of retreating from the spotlight, Brady leaned into a different kind of publicity. Post-divorce, Brady began subtly reshaping his image. His social media presence shifted, less about endorsements and game highlights, more about being a dad. Beach days, school events, heartfelt captions about family. In interviews, he emphasized how much he valued time with his children. To many, it was a genuine evolution. A man who had spent years chasing glory now focusing on what really matters. But others saw strategy, a calculated move to counterbalance the controversies and keep his public persona untouchable. After all, devoted father is one of the safest images in celebrity PR, and it seemed to work. His online comment section softened, the jokes slowed. But while the dad posts were winning over some fans, his behavior on the field during his final season still lingered in people's minds. Even toward the end of his career, Brady's competitive streak burned hotter than ever. But it sometimes came out as public frustration, slamming tablets, barking at teammates, and shouting at referees in full view of cameras. What really got people talking, though, was how rarely he faced consequences. Other players would have been flagged, fined, or disciplined for similar outbursts. But Brady? More often than not, he walked away without a penalty. It fueled the perception that the NFL gave its golden boy special treatment, protecting not just the player, but the brand. To some, it was proof of his influence. To others, it was one more reason to question how much of his image was carefully maintained by forces bigger than the game itself. Tom Brady's career will forever be remembered as one of the most dominant in sports history. His stats, his championships, and his relentless drive are unmatched. But as the years pass, the conversation is shifting. Will his legacy be that of the ultimate underdog turned legend, or will it be a more complicated portrait? One where the wins are undeniable, but so are the controversies, the awkward moments, and the very human flaws? In the age of constant media and instant opinions, even the greatest have to keep playing long after the final whistle. For Brady, the next chapter could define not just how we remember him, but how he chooses to define himself when there's no game left to win. One thing's certain, the story isn't over yet.